Welcome to Green Sunrise Podcast, Michelle. I hope I'm not shouting that too loud for you there. Is
No,
everything okay?
I
Can
can
you
hear.
hear me?
My hearing aids are turned up.
Good. Well, you might actually have to turn them down. I'm going to get a wee bit loud here. No, I won't. I won't get loud. What we will do though is we will give a wee trigger warning. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to provide a quick trigger warning. In this discussion, we'll be talking about the experiences and potential anxieties that can arise when being in large crowds. This may include references to feeling overwhelmed, panic attacks, and situations that some listeners may find distressing. If you're feeling vulnerable or this topic may be upsetting for you, I encourage you take care of yourself first. Feel free to skip this episode or listen with someone you trust. Remember, you are not alone. And there are resources available if you need support. With that said, let's begin the conversation in a way that's open, supportive, and safe for everyone tuning in. No, 100%. And like Michelle's just joined a wee group that I've created within the Green Sunrise podcast, kind of hosts and co-host community. And this is kind of one of the first ones we've been doing. This is kind of a wee trial as well, Michelle,
Yep.
isn't it? It's a wee
Yep.
trial to find out.
Trial.
Wee trial. We're going to use Riverside today. Going to see what that's like. Just trial it out. So trigger warning is done, right? Michelle, what's cooking? What is cooking
What is
in your
cooking?
kitchen?
Well, I'm going to be making flatbreads later on.
How do you make flatbread?
Greek yogurt and plain flour. But I've kind of bought a different flour for bread, so I don't know how that's going to pan out. You put a wee bit of salt in it, and somebody says to put a wee bit of sugar in it, but I'll just try the salt. I might put some chives in it, and then you just roll it out and put it in the pan, and that's it. Well, I'm hoping that's the way it's going to work anyway. Wishful
Right.
thinking.
Can you do a wee thingy for that, a wee video for that, before and after pictures and all that? Just
Definitely.
100%.
100%. 100%.
Well, I'm making dal. You said you've never heard of dal before, haven't you?
Well, I've heard of dal, but I wasn't sure how it was made, so you
See,
can
be
fill
honest with
me
you.
in.
See,
Fill
be
me
honest
in.
with you. I hadn't heard of dal until I met a wee Irish lassie that I know.
Right.
And she told me, "Let me make you dal." And then I realised how easy it was to make dal.
Right.
So I'm going to make dal. Dal for me would be onions,
Right.
garlic,
I'm
sizzle the
writing this
base.
down.
Get your pens and papers out, right? Sizzle the base, onions and garlic, and then I'm going to throw in a wee bit of sweet potato, carrots, organic
Oh,
carrots, sweet potato, and then I'm going to shove in some more onions. Well, a wee bit more onions. I'm going to then shove in what was that other thing?
parsnips. Right.
I'm going to chop up. I'm going to break up a big cauliflower.
All right. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
I'm going to throw it on, and then I'm going to add some spices. Right.
Okay.
Paprika,
Right.
Fernie, whatever. What kind of
Fairness?
spices? What kind of?
Fairness?
It's called Fernie. I just seen it. Fernie Gua. Like I wish I brought it. It's
All
called
right.
something. What spices would you put in your dal if you were having a dal? Even though you don't know what it is.
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously the paprika, the garlic.
Right. Boom.
I might put in some cumin. I might put in
100%. Yep.
some
Coriander.
turmeric maybe, or whatever. I don't really know.
That's what I forgot to get at the shop. Turmeric. I think I've got a wee bit there. Turmeric is definitely one you would put in.
Aye.
I'm good. Good with that. I'm good with that. Once I make it, I will give you a bowl and you can give me some of your flatbread.
Cool. And that mix them together. That'd be lovely.
We can meet up at the Green Sunrise podcast cafeteria that is soon to open your way.
Okay.
In the land of whatever. No, that would be good. That's the dream. We cafeteria somewhere we can sit and talk. So we're going to that leads us on to what we're going to talk about today, right? So I should have said that at the very beginning of the episode. Me and you are going to talk about being part of large groups.
Okay.
Right. And we're going to look at. I've got some stuff on the internet. We're going to look at some stuff like the psychological risks, the physical risks, and then the emotional and social risks, right? And we're going to break it down. We're going to go through it one by one, and we're going to see what we can come up with. And then obviously, if there's anything that you want to talk about. But first of all, Michelle, Before we get to that part, who are you? Can you tell me a wee bit about yourself?
Who am I? I am Michelle, and I come from the East End. I am 52, and I suffer a lot with my mental health, and it's been ongoing for a long, long, long time. I seem to be in a wee bit of a better place, so that's why I don't work at the minute. I don't think I'll ever go back to my work for my mental health.
Right.
So I run groups. So I've got 3 groups that I run, all female based, in the East End to help and support females that have went through any trauma or any mental health or any illnesses, or even if they're carers, for young people or, whatever the case may be, unpaid carers.
Yeah.
So that's what I do, and that's really all about me. I'm
Yeah.
all about helping people at the end of the day.
Yeah. And some of the groups I'm hoping to share on
Yep.
this episode. Can you explain a wee bit more about the groups? What was the first group?
Right.
What ones have you been part of? Stuff like
Okay, so the first group is a women's support group. We have that on a Monday night. It's on for 1 hour up at a church, which is a safe place for females to come and share whatever experience it is that they're struggling with. A lot of people in the group have either been they're survivors of cancer, or
Yeah.
their partners have died for cancer,
Yeah.
or a family member, or they are going through cancer treatment at the minute.
Yeah.
So that all ties in with their mental health. That'll tie in with their physical ability. It'll tie in as well with bereavement as well, if their partner's passed away.
Yeah.
So it could be one thing, but you've got all these other things attached to that.
Yeah.
And that's why we come. So we come and we have a cup of tea, we have a chat, we ask each other, how we've been that week, and then we get into a bit of a discussion about how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And that's been really good. That's only been running from January time. So
Right.
it's been
It's
really
a newbie,
positive.
absolute newbie. Aye.
It's been positive. A Thursday night I do a walking group, but that's been running for a year and a half now, and that's 6 o'clock at Alexander Park, and it is just just walking and catching up. Really, it's
Yeah.
not really for exercise.
It's perfect.
It's just for chatting. It's normal chit chat. We won't talk about the same things that we spoke about
No.
in the Monday group, but it's just normal chit chat going around everyday life, and we have a laugh. We do have a bit of fun doing that. And then on a Sunday, we go to Luss Beach at 2 o'clock for a cold water swim. And then I normally take all my camping stuff and I cook on the beach. At the weekend, we had burgers. Apparently, one of the lassies going to make homemade soup for this week, so we'll see if that pans out. But so we just really, and we all just sit round a fire and have a laugh again. We have a chat. It's no, it's like the
So there's no
Monday thing
stress.
serious, and there's definitely no any stress.
No
No.
stress. That's good.
And it's just women getting together and being supportive towards each other.
Aye, excellent. So see the Monday one, remind me what that one is again. So what does that, where
It's
is that, where does it sit again?
It's the women's support group, and that's based in St Enoch's Church.
Right.
It's called St Enoch's Hugginfield Church, but that's in Ridley area.
Right.
I mean, I can give you all the rest of the details for that.
What we'll do is we'll flash it up. We'll flash up the
Well,
thing.
I'll send you the wee post because it's got all the details on it.
Aye, perfect. That's what
so
we'll
I
do.
can send that for you.
We'll do that, and we'll have it at the bottom of the description of this episode as well. And
Okay.
that would be perfect. And you said that, and then obviously the Thursday ones, again, a wee bit different, but so just a walking group. Are you finding the same people going for the Monday one and they go to the Thursday one? Is it the same people right through the week? Do you get people that don't come and just go certain days?
Yeah, there's people. I mean, there's there's maybe a half a dozen that come to the 3 groups together.
Aye.
And then there's other people that dart in and out, whoever's, no working and whatever. Some of them will come once a month to the Monday group, and then they might not come to the rest of the groups.
Right.
And so they all dart in when they want. It's no like you don't have to come to every group. But if it's good for you, then come.
Yeah. And
No
it's,
obligation, no nothing.
yeah, and I suppose for anybody maybe just looking to meet up with somebody and just talk and
That's
get
right.
something off their chest, it's
Well,
great for that.
that was the aim of the game. It was for loneliness as well, for people
Yeah,
who haven't got any support,
yeah,
and they can come and just be supported.
aye,
Don't get me wrong, like so it's a full on thing for me
yeah,
for the three groups.
yeah,
And I do periodically message the females and ask
aye,
them if they're all right, if they're doing all right, and they'll say after thanks very much because I was having a bad day.
aye, good,
I don't know what it is. It's just that I sense sometimes I'm thinking I don't think that person's very good today,
aye,
so I think I'll maybe give them a wee text, say
aye,
maybe see if they're all right. So that's the type of thing that I do, and that's when it becomes a bit full on. It's like a full
aye,
time job that I've got
yeah.
them three groups.
Yeah, but that's the thing as well. It's something it's deep in your heart. I know that you've experienced other groups and you've been part
Yeah,
of other big groups,
yeah,
and you know, and I've been part of groups as well, and you know that the negative side of some of that stuff where
yeah,
it can become too much, and people you can feel somewhat, maybe no the right description, but you can feel somewhat exploited,
yeah,
or sometimes you feel like you're exploiting as well somebody else,
yeah,
and that's not the aim of what you're
yeah,
trying to do.
yeah.
But I know that can come up.
A lot of it is sometimes is you feel as if you're being taken advantage
Yeah,
of because you're maybe done them on a voluntary basis. So
yeah,
when I've went, it's like I'll maybe go every week, but I just
yeah,
feel sometimes if they are like exploiting you or maybe
yeah.
taking advantage of your good nature, and then they're adding more things onto you, and then you
Aye,
feel overwhelmed, then and then you're like, well, I need to take a back seat.
aye,
But I've kind of learned to adjust myself a wee bit
aye. Yeah,
and
yeah,
not
and
get back into that.
yeah, and I think that I've done that as well. I think there's been times where I've been part of large groups and I've maybe said something and somebody's not agreed with it, and then it becomes like the opposite of why you joined the group. It's like it seems to be like there seems to be a wee bit of friction between you and another
Yeah,
person, or you and a group of people, and then it seems like, "Ah, man, that's not what I intended to do." And by the
that's
way,
right.
I don't think it's what they intended either. I
No,
think there's a lot of kind of like misinformation, and or sometimes we read stuff wrong, like we get lost in translation.
I am terrible for reading things wrong.
Aye,
I've got dyslexia. I've got
right,
I've got dyslexia, dyspraxia, and dyscalculus. I do think I've got ADHD as well, but
right,
whether I have or no, I don't know. But I take things in when people are speaking to me, and I take them in the wrong way. And sometimes then that's my fault. At the end of the day, it's me that's caused that wee issue because I've read it wrong,
yeah.
as
Well,
usual.
but it's so easy. It's so easy
It's so easily done.
for that
So
to happen.
easily done.
And that just reminds me of it. Like one of the boys who's one of the who's part of Green Search podcast, Will D. Antonopoulos. He done a podcast and he interviewed a guy called Jordan Stringer, who was a
Uh,
professional football coach, and his story was all about dyspraxia.
oh,
So
is it all right?
So I didn't know anything about dyspraxia. You hear things and you don't read into it.
Yeah.
And so when he done the podcast there, I looked at it, I was like, wow, I didn't know that was the case.
Uh,
How people grown up, how it can really affect their life
that's right.
by you using other things.
Uh,
So look, just having that, you're right, the talking groups. But you're like me in a sense. We've done stuff, we've made mistakes, and
yeah,
we've learned from it, and we've been like,
that's
right, you
right.
know what? And by the way, it's all about making mistakes, and
It
it,
is.
it really is all about making
And
mistakes.
learning,
Aye,
you learn every day anyway.
aye,
So it's
exactly.
just about learning how to process that and maybe not to do it again at the end of the day.
Aye, aye. So with the Green Science podcast, I need to thank you as well, Michelle, again for joining the thing that I'm trying to do. We will get back to the studio, and I think me and you have got a definite date and plan for the studio one.
Yeah,
But the studio's just a bit more complex, and it's a bit more. Craig Gallagher, I'm trying to get the studio event with him
right.
it's complete, but it's just so hard because we're getting different circles, and I've got a new job,
That's
and
right. Yeah,
I'm 12 years on the street, and I'm doing stuff like that. I'm literally running with a lot of energy,
yeah,
and I've not got any energy left. to try and do what I need to do. And my whole game, or sorry, part of my game is the Green Sunrise podcast, getting people talking and get people out there and connecting. So we've definitely got stuff coming up, and thank you again for coming into the group. I know it's been overwhelming for some people coming into the group because there's 14 or 15 people there, and I know people have left. I do apologise if I was affected anybody. The whole point is it's just getting ideas. So that thank you for the people that have stayed. And by the way, if anybody leaves the group that I've created when WhatsApp, or if anybody wants in the group for the WhatsApp, please let us know. But again, if you've left and you want to come back in at any point, it's not a problem. I just hope I've not caused any too much like friction or trauma. Thank you so much, Michelle, for telling us a wee bit about yourself.
Okay.
And I guarantee you it's only a wee tiny bit you've told me. I know that. That's probably the safe bit, so thank you very much. But we're going to talk about now being part of large groups, right? What I've got in front of me is obviously the positive side of that, the social connection side of that, shared experiences and support, and like we're going to talk about a wee bit about it. Right, so we'll go for number one, psychological risks, right? Groupthink, right? It's coming up here. It says the people in groups may adopt the majority opinion without critical thinking. This can lead to poor decision making and ignoring individual instincts. The tip on this one is trust your gut and speak up if something feels wrong.
Of course.
Right?
Because you're not being true to yourself if you don't speak up.
Yeah. Aye.
Do you know what I mean? And, you know, everybody's going to have their own opinion of you as a person and of the group. You know, no, everybody gets on in life.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's about judging the situation that you're in. If there's a topic that comes up and you disagree, you know, I've had discussions in a politic way, and it was with somebody close to me, and I just left them to rant because I thought, I'm not getting into an argument or falling out with somebody over something that, you know, the bases are obviously got conflicting points about it.
Yeah.
So you've got to learn when to not to say anything.
You've
and
got to learn.
It.
You have to learn when to step back and just leave the situation.
That's right.
Right, just leave the room or wherever it is you may be. Just leave the situation within reason, and like you're right. We're all going to make poor decisions, and we're all going to say stuff that. I wish I'd used a bit of different grammar on that, or a wee bit different kind of light on that.
Yeah.
But no, it's just important that we're aware of that. It says number 2, peer pressure. Now, larger groups can create a pressure to conform, sometimes pushing individuals into risky behaviour.
Yeah.
So tip is to set the personal boundaries and don't be afraid to step back, like we've kind of just said there as well.
Yeah.
So that being part of a group, it does cause a little bit of pressure.
The peer pressure thing is like, if one person says, oh, I don't like that person, and then they're trying to obviously make that person say, oh, I don't like that person either. And then it just has that snowball effect where nobody likes that person, and then that person then is ostracised for the group. That's that. We shouldn't really be at this age anyway. At our age, you know, we shouldn't be putting pressure onto somebody to dislike somebody just because you don't like them, you know.
My mate Gary, I'll say Gary because that's what he's called. Gary sent me a video about how the fact that you can there's a message that you're trying to convey to somebody, and it's no your job for them to get it.
That's right.
It's just your job to say it the way you see it. It's no your issue that you got it wrong. They can't pick that up. That's their problem. And I know that sounds as if we're all right, but we're no. But sometimes you've got to be yourself, be true to yourself. And if they can't get it, then it's just a case of they either need to look at it again, or they need to ask me questions based on what the person means. Yeah, I'll send you that video, but it's a great video.
Aye, that'll be good to watch.
Set boundaries. So loss of individual identity. So this is again psychological risks. Loss of individual identity. In big groups, people may feel anonymous, leading to impulsive or irresponsible actions. The tip here says stay aware of your values and avoid situations that compromise them. Yeah. Loss of individual identity. Again, it's similar to sometimes we can cover everything all within the one question or the one pot point. But that's another thing. Emotional contagion. Oh, sorry. Aye, emotional contagion.
Right.
Emotions, especially anxiety, excitement, or aggression, they can spread rapidly in crowds. So the tip here is to practice mindfulness. Take
Yeah.
a moment to pause and assess your feelings.
Yeah.
Right, so that's a big thing that sometimes I struggle with. I'm in a big group and we're talking about, you're asked a question. If it comes round to your turn, for example, you're in a big group and you say something, you need to be aware of how much emotion you're giving it to the person or the
Yeah.
people that you're talking to, because it does grow rapidly among a crowd. You can get really annoyed at what somebody says during a simple question or a
Yep.
simple answer.
And then it grows arms and legs, and then
Aye.
that's you.
Aye, and then it becomes about a
Yeah.
heated debate or a heated situation
Uh-huh.
that you didn't even mean to cause.
Aye.
You're like that. Shit, how am I going to sort this?
I know. I know.
And that sometimes it ends on an argument. It ends on somebody falling out. And then when somebody falls out with somebody, when you fall out with somebody,
Yeah.
all you're doing is stopping opportunity. All
That's
you're doing
right.
is stopping the fact that you could potentially have helped them
Yeah. Aye. But
that
you've.
day or the next day. But now you've cancelled that off, that's done.
Aye.
And you're like, I'm not talking to him again. I'm not fucking talking to him again. And I thought, you know, fucking, you're going to go and just phone out to people. Do you know what I mean?
Well, sometimes you don't need to fall out with them. You just need to distance yourself.
Aye,
And
but I
you know
suppose.
what? I've had to do that with a lot of people because I was in other female kind of circles and groups where we were all potentially trying to heal and help each other, but it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And I just distanced myself. I've no fell out with MD. I'm just like took myself away from it, then just done my own thing so that I wasn't getting involved with
Yeah.
the drama at the end of the day with it
Aye.
all.
Aye. So that's good. It's just that if you can step away and you're aware of that, then you can't really lose in a sense.
No.
Physical risks. So we're going to go into physical risks. There's 3 points for that. Crowd crush. Right. So being in large packs now, densely packed areas.
Aye.
Somebody said to me the other day, "How is Glasgow quite dense?" When I was in Amsterdam doing a wee bike tour, and
Right.
somebody said, "Is Glasgow quite dense?" And I didn't even know what they
What
meant.
what
That's it.
the men I know, I
What's the
know.
dense mean? I was a bit. So that's how stupid I am, all right.
Uh-huh.
And I had to ask my girlfriend, I was like, what is, he just said this Glasgow quite dense. I just said, aye, it is. But I suppose dense areas like concerts, football matches, I know what they
Yeah.
mean now, right? I know
Aye.
what it
Aye.
means.
Aye. Yep.
So crowd crush, right? Being in large groups, how do you feel being in a large group? Like if it's concert, I suppose concerts are a bit different.
So no,
You know
I
that,
can't. No,
right? Okay,
I
I
can't
get
go
that.
in. I can't go into pubs either.
Right? Okay,
Like, like I've no drank for
aye,
I would say about 3 years, but it's no through. It's just through choice. It's through choice, aye, and it was affecting my mental health during lockdown. It's a bad time for drinking. I think
right.
for a lot of people,
Yeah, it was.
aye,
Yeah,
that was really bad. But I can't go into social environment. I find one night. So what had happened was is I couldn't get into the church for the group on the Monday, and one of the females was upset outside the church.
right.
And I felt I couldn't leave her, and I couldn't
With
leave
it,
everybody. I couldn't leave everybody. So
aye.
we came to my flat. Oh, it was the worst night of my life.
Was it?
Worst night of my life. I mean, everybody was great. They,
Yeah.
but one of my close friends seen it that I was like struggling.
So you invited quite a lot of people back after the kind of
There was
after.
10 years on my wee
Oh right,
flat. We were on the living room, all around my table and chairs, and then I had to move my couch so that we were all facing each other. Oh my God, I've never experienced anything like it in my life.
my
I was
goodness.
desperate for them to leave. Desperate for them
Aye,
to
well
leave.
look, I've been to a few parties when I've been desperate to leave myself, or I've been desperate to kick people out. No many, I don't throw many parties.
I sat and drank a full litre of water that because my mouth was that dry. I was like, I can't cope. And my pal looked at me and she went, I think it's about time we all left now. And I was like,
Aye,
thank God. Oh, it
cheers. Like,
was
you
bad.
don't want to be cheeky, so it's a similar.
No, I wanted to help the lassie that was upset and we did all discuss it, but oh aye, it was traumatic for me.
Wow, and that's one of these things similar to again similar to being part of the group and with the Green Sunrise podcast stuff. Right? There's not many people, like maybe over 14 or 15 people, but even that's a lot of people.
Yeah,
So and even
aye,
and even in the social media environment,
that's
whereas
right.
there's no
Yep.
15 people right next to you, but there's
No,
15 people. You're part of something. There's 15 people.
aye.
Even that 15 people, you're like, oh, a wee bit. Nah, maybe not for me. Now. So
I know.
dealing with people one on one is vital for if you
Yeah,
get an issue with that. Then it's great that your pal noticed it
I
quick enough
know.
to say
I
right.
know.
Mum will kick out. Mum will
Aye,
jump out. And
aye.
that's if you've
She,
got that,
she's
that's good.
she's the one that says that I've got ADHD. She says it's ripping at you, and I was like, all
Aye.
right, they're okay.
Wow. Wow,
Aye,
wow. Well, at least you had somebody that can support you on that, and
I
that's
know.
always
I
great.
know.
It says here, pickpocketing and theft. But I've seen pickpocketers. I don't think I've ever been pickpocketed in my life.
No, neither bar.
But I've had a little bit of theft in my life, like my car and stuff like that stole. But I've never actually been pickpocketed. I don't think.
Aye,
Then again, I might have had
aye,
a 20 quid in my pocket one day and didn't realise it was there, and it's
aye.
away. Aye, so I suppose there's that as well. There's got that point of the physical risks that we've got.
Yes, aye, aye,
Scams and manipulation. Right. Now,
aye.
large groups can create confusion, making it easier for
Yep.
scammers to operate. Be cautious of strangers asking for money, or offering deals that seems too good to be true. I used to be a guy that would offer, like, try to get people involved with fucking cryptocurrency, right? Because I
I was
thought it was the
I
way.
was gas and electricity,
I,
and I
by the way,
was
so
pestering
was
every.
that. So was that. I used to be part of, pardons the French, I used to be part of, is it a utility warehouse?
That's
And,
me.
and, I,
That was me.
and I used to sell gas and electricity, and I was like, but in my head I was like, nah, fuck this, I can't
That's
do
what
this.
I done. I was like, no, I can't. Can't do this.
I can't do this. It's just, I get it. But, and the thing is, it's daft because I was literally, I could save people money. But then I
Oh, I know.
realised what the whole industry was about, and I was like, nah,
Aye.
fuck that, fuck
See,
them.
I'm still with them as a company.
Aye. So I'm with them as well for my broadband.
And I've got gas, electricity, broadband, mobile phone, SIM
Aye.
card. You
Aye,
know,
I've got some.
I got my man onto them, and they are good. But they are good. But I couldn't sell it. I couldn't sell it.
So what were you saying there about the scam? Did you say something?
Oh, why?
Apart from the
People
utility
try
warehouse?
try and scam me all the time.
I know.
I get scammed on TikTok for toilet roll. No, for kitchen roll.
Right?
£9 they said for it said like 100 sheets or 200 sheets, but I didn't realise they meant a sheet as in a square.
Aye. Aye.
So it came and it was like this wee toty kitchen roll.
Right.
Like no even 3 ply, by the way, just
Aye.
one sheet. You could see through it, had holes in it. I was like, oh, no way. Did you see? I
That's
did
that.
get
That you know what that is, Michelle.
what?
One sheet does for.
I know, one sheet does fuck up. But the reason the laugh it was I got my man here. I says to her, oh, get by them, they're great. She's kitchen and toilet roll daft. And she didn't get scammed, but I did. But I got my money back. I put a review in saying that they were
Aye.
scammers and all that. They said, can you please take that post? And I went, no, this is for some other mug
I
to
know
buy
to
it.
get done. I
Do you know
know.
what I mean? One kitchen roll came.
Whereas your Maz gets free plies worth, you're
She
getting nothing.
she got honours. She done well at us. I never.
Oh, brilliant. Right. We're going to finish on emotional and social risks.
Oh, right. Emotional. Aye.
Exclusion and cliques. So
Mm.
in social groups, obviously we all know about the cliques. Smaller cliques can form, sometimes leading to feelings of isolation. So the tips for this one is engage with different people rather than sticking to one small circle.
Okay.
Engage with different people rather than stick to one small. So I suppose that means that, like, I suppose if you've got the stage, you're
Yeah.
you're you're going to be looking about. You're going to be looking about, and I suppose that'd be the same with group settings. You'd be like, look, what do you think, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think I'm quite good at that. I think I'm quite good at involving everybody. I've
I
learned
think
that.
I
I've had to
think
learn that.
I'm good at that as well,
Aye.
involving everybody. Like, I don't want MD to, like, so there's a wee event coming up in the chapel hall that one of the girls from my Monday group is invited us all to it. It's for charity, and we said aye. So these two new lasses joined the group, and I thought, I better say to them, because I don't want the event to happen and they don't get invited. But it turns out they're going anyway. They know somebody who got them
Aye.
a ticket, so it was
Right.
fine. But I don't like to leave anybody out,
No, you're right.
you know.
I'm one for that as well. I like to
It's like,
try
you
and
wouldn't,
involve everybody.
well, you wouldn't like them to see it on social media that yous were all way up at
Aye,
Lust
I know.
Beach for a dip and they never get asked, you know. So I do feel obliged to inform everybody, you know.
Aye. And the last point on that would be exploitation and control. So certain groups, especially in social movements or fandoms, can manipulate emotions or exploit members.
Yeah.
So tip here is question motives. If you feel pressure to contribute money, time, or loyalty beyond what's reasonable. So exploitation, I believe, I've been speaking to somebody, I'm speaking to people in the group, and it's one thing that I'm aware of, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm not exploiting people.
I
Like
know.
some of the people that I've had on the podcast so far in the studio stuff, they've come out with stuff that I wasn't aware of, and then I feel responsible.
Yeah.
So the trigger warnings that we done at the very beginning of this, which kind of finishes off this really nice.
Uh-huh.
Exploitation is, I see exploitation now more than I've ever done. Now joining my new job is different. I know I can't mention my job, but
Yeah. But in a
when
social care environment,
yeah,
it's rife.
it's rife.
It's
But
rife.
what I'm seeing it on, and it is rife, but what I'm
It
seeing
is.
now is like the internet use, and I don't want to be kind of two faced, but what I've seen on the internet is I see things like this maybe things like the streets or the things that are on YouTube, and I think it's total exploitation, right? It's like that's wrong. It's like you are, and I suppose when you're getting into somebody else's life and you're putting on a YouTube video. Now I get people are up for that, and people can say, "Aye, I'm good with
Yeah.
that."
Uh-huh.
But I think there needs to be more. And now that I'm doing it, now that I've been doing more podcasts, I'm now aware of the person that I'm interviewing, and I'm
Yeah.
saying to them, right, look, I don't want any exploitation. You got to understand, if this goes on YouTube, for example, it's
Yep.
out to the world to see.
Of course.
Without deleting the video, I can't get that back.
That's right.
If somebody has that and they've got it, I can't take it back. So I can take the video down, but really they've still got it. So, and again,
It's out there in the clouds, as they say, isn't it?
yeah,
You know what
and
I
that's
mean?
that's and that's just so that's just an example that I've come in, I'm now being aware of in my own head,
Yeah.
exploitation, and I don't mean like just that one guy for the streets or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's not just by the way, what the guys do as well is really good, right?
Yeah.
There's just things like that that I see on the internet, on YouTube, and I'm like that's and maybe it's just a case of they don't understand
Yeah.
what they're doing. I think I
So
don't know.
I'll tell you this wee story, right? What had happened to me was I was a volunteer up at Alexander Park in the hub, it was called, and
Right.
John that ran it, very nice guy, done a lot for the place.
Aye.
Said, "Would you come up and help one day? We've got
Aye.
these MP guys and that coming, or the SNP or whatever they were."
Aye.
And I was like, "I need bother, aye. No, it was maybe away last year, the year before, and I was maybe not in the right frame of mind at
Yep.
the
Yep.
time, but I went and helped him. And before I knew it, I get whipped into this other room with a guy from Mary Hill who was an MP.
Right.
And a guy put a mic on me, and before I knew it, I was getting recorded to ask. It was a case of, can you answer some questions? And he was asking me questions about, so why do you feel the need to help this place and blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
do you know what? I got so emotional because I don't know, can't remember what the question was, but I get so emotional. I started getting upset and I
Aye.
started like crying, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I says, but this isn't for me. I can't be answering. He asked me a question that was, do you know what it was? He asked me a question, have you ever let anybody down? And that's a trigger for me
Yeah. Of course.
because I've never let anybody down in my life.
Aye.
And I try my best not to let him down.
Aye.
If I say I'm doing
Aye.
something, I'll do it.
Aye.
And if I say that I'm going to be there, I'll be there. right? I won't let them down. So that was a trigger for me, and that's what got me so emotionally, because at the time I was trying to organise groups for the hub.
Aye.
But it was difficult. But the moral of the story is that I had to then phone that MP up and say to him, I do not want that out on social media. I want that
Aye.
deleted, because I felt that I was being exploited.
Yep. Yep.
You know, so it's not out there, thank God. But if
Aye.
they put
Of
it out,
course.
it would have been out there for a long time.
It would have been. Yep.
I was so emotional that
Yeah.
day. But
Aye.
as I said, I wasn't in the right frame of mind to do it that
Yeah.
day.
And this is the thing as well. I'm aware of the exploitation part, and I think that it's just becoming knowledgeable now about the dangers of social media. And maybe people would disagree, but I think that I've been guilty of that, like exploiting people and not realizing,
Aye.
and maybe
We've,
exploit.
we've spoke about this before
Aye.
on a phone call, and
That's right. Well, I remember you. I remember you telling me about that situation you were in, and
aye,
I remember going that night. Aye, that was difficult, but I knew that it wasn't going to bring you down. I knew that it was just going to make you stronger in a
aye,
sense, right? But with the stuff that we're now trying to do,
yeah,
this is now where I'm trying to form this library of knowledge that it's there for
aye,
everybody to see, but
that's right.
maybe it's not spoken about enough.
Yeah,
You
aye, I
know
get that. I know.
that like let's finish it on that, right?
Okay,
That
cool.
was are you all right with that?
Yeah, aye,
You
totally.
good? You good
Aye,
with that?
totally, totally
What we'll
fine.
do is I'll edit this out, or I'll edit whatever we're going to do. I'll look at it.
Good.
I'll send you a wee copy, but I'll get this on YouTube as soon as I can, or any other sharing platforms. Is there anything else you'd like to say about anything you're doing apart from the fact you're going to cook some flatbread today? Is there anything you'd like to say about Green Sunrise podcast, or anything at all? Something to cheer
Um,
me up, or can you cheer me up?
I mean, I've watched a lot of the podcast stuff that you do, and I feel sometimes there's maybe too many guys on it.
Aye,
There's no
yeah, I
enough
get
a
that.
lot of females.
Yep, I get that. Yep.
And it's been interesting, you know, the conversation and that. The conversation needs to be done,
Yeah.
needs to be said.
Yep.
It needs to be out there and
Yep.
open for everybody. But
Yep.
I mean, I enjoy it. I
Yep.
enjoy watching the videos. I mean,
Okay.
I'm on all social media platforms with you
Aye.
anyway,
Aye.
so you know I
So
do see it quite a lot.
So what we'll do, you kind of know what's been happening in the background.
Yeah,
There's a lot more females are trying to get onto the podcast, and that will happen. We'll make sure that's a
yeah,
thing. Similar to you saying that you won't let anybody down. That
yeah,
let's make that a thing, right? Let's make it. If we're going to say it, let's do it. And I think I've just been a wee bit quiet on the podcast because I've been starting a new job, and there's been a lot of emotions and feelings I'm trying to get used to.
yeah,
So let's do that.
yeah.
Let's get that done and make sure that because without you as women, Michelle, I'm afraid there's
I
nothing
know,
here. We
I
don't have
know.
anybody really.
Yous guys are hopeless before women, honest to God.
But we I'll admit to that, and I know every one of the guys on the podcast will admit to that. Bob and Brian and Walt are that, you know, fucking right.
Bob sends me a few wee messages. He's a
Aye,
nice person. He's a
he's so
lovely
good, isn't
guy.
he?
Aye, he
Aye,
is.
Bob is everything about this podcast, and he means so
Aye,
much to me for my own life and also for the podcast. But aye, he's just you need to meet Bob. Is just a thing.
aye. He reminds me of a hillbilly.
Aye, and but
Definite.
I think he's definitely some sort of Billy.
Aye.
Bob, Bob, Bob will definitely agree with you on that, and he's definitely got some. He'll have names for you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's fine.
He'll
That's
definitely names
fine.
for you.
That's
But
fine.
thank you so much,
No
Michelle.
bother. That was
Have
good.
an excellent day.
You two enjoy your dal, and I'll enjoy my flatbread.
Definitely. The job is now to connect the two up, and we'll get a big party of whatever it is, and we'll
We're
get your
not
cat.
having, listen, we're not having a party in my house. I can't cope with any more than 3 cats.
That would give me anxiety.
I know, coming
But you
in
just said
here.
you're allergic to cats and all, so
Yep.
I need the one of the Jags you were talking about.
Or you should,
Aye,
especially if your girlfriend's getting one. You should
aye.
get one.
I'll need to
Well
get a cat.
worth it.
Aye, I'll get an antihistamine in the I'll do my antihistamine as well to there. Look,
Aye.
I'm not getting any issues with the cats, right?
No, I
So I'm not
know.
talking about them.
I know.
I'm more of a Chihuahua fan, but don't tell them that either.
They're like chihuahuas.
Aye, did he? Aye,
But
well,
the cats are just like wee dogs.
aye, let me let me
They're
Chihuahua
just
them.
like,
I know. But anyway, thank you so much, Michelle.
they
Have an
bother.
excellent day. Speak to you on the beach. Bye bye. Bye bye.